How strong is Adult-Tōshirō? First and foremost, I'll cover his physical stats including speed, power, range, and so on, followed by his spiritual powers including new abilities which he gains, and old abilities which he still possesses. To establish a foundation, this is likely not known to many, but Toshiro Hitsugaya had mastered his child-sized Bankai following the battle against Aizen and Haribel. Even as a child prodigy, he had trained relentlessly after that arc. He honed his abilities until his Bankai could be called a true Bankai. So the adult form emerges from an already mastered child-sized Bankai. It was widely believed by not only fans but also by other Soul Reapers that the floating ice petals behind him signify the timeline for which he can stay in Bankai form. However, this was incorrect as it was a countdown to Hyorin Maru's true power release. However, given Itsugaya's immature spirit body, if he had unleashed this before mastering the aging form, he would have undergone an imperfect growth and damaged himself. His own spirit form was unable to hold that power, hence he learned to age himself into a form which could withstand that power. The completion of Daiguren Hyorin Maru. This form allowed him to ascend to new heights and challenge the Titan, Gerard Valkyrie. In this form, Toshiro becomes so fast that he can react to the likes of Volstendig Amp Gerard, evading Gerard's stabbing motion, before reacting to his giant shield which was tossed at him, freezing it in mid-air. Furthermore, he didn't bother reacting to Gerard's Hoffnung until the blade was close to him, again displaying that the speed of his adult form is more than enough to react to the giant's Volstendig. But exactly how fast and strong is this Volstendig Amp Gerard? And how strong and fast were his previous forms, especially when compared to other characters such as the likes of Kenpachi Zaraki. An already Schutzstaffel class character, Gerard was resurrected and strengthened by means of the Auswillen, as Volstendig and sometimes the lives of the lesser Sternritters were ripped from them and granted to the Schutzstaffel, the latter sprouting Volstendig-like wings as a sign of that increased power. After being heavily damaged by the captain class characters of the Gotei 13, he grew so massive that even his foot alone was like a transportation vehicle, and his hands could handle multi-story buildings like a toy. He could casually brush aside post-Royal Palace Byakuya's Bankai and had enough fighting power and speed to push back and match Kenpachi Zaraki after he took off his eye patch and released Shikai. This is further supported with statements like the strongest Shinigami and the strongest Quincy collide at full speed. Their strength is equal, but Hoffnung though. A base eye patchless Kenpachi could match and then defeat Retsu Unohana or Yachiro the first Kenpachi, displaying enough speed and power to defeat her. He would then unleash his Shikai powered only to match Gerard Valkyrie in terms of physical ability. And following a lethal experience against Kenpachi's Bankai, Gerard unleashed his Volstendig. Volstendig is essentially the controlled version of Lech Still and drastically increases their abilities such as speed and spiritual power. Gerard would see a massive increase in his spiritual power as his body would be oversaturated with Reishi and spirit energy, even without considering the amount of spiritual particles and Reiatsu his mountainous previous form would contain, given that he was a gigantic Reishi construct, and Reiatsu itself is carried within Reishi particles. The physical prowess of that form being strong enough to brush off superficial Bankai and physically keep up with the monster from Zaraki, only for all these traits to be drastically amplified by the Volstendig. Yet here comes Adult-Tōshirō, who casually reacts to Gerard's blade at close range, and after the Titan uses physical strength to toss his shield at Toshiro, the now grown captain of Squad 10 would use the freezing strength of his ice to stop the shield mid-air. Furthermore, the young prodigy would have no problem freezing the gigantic spiritual power oozing from Gerard's giant form, including his holy arrow. With respect to his range, he could already freeze gigantic city structures in his child-sized Bankai form, and has command over the entire sky. In terms of range, this Bankai is one of the most expansive. In Soul Society arc, his danger zone was stated to be within 3 Ri upon the release of his Shikai, and when he fought Haribel, his Bankai was said to rule the skies for 43,000 leagues around. His adult form would then embody all of this range. His mature form can freeze massive structures with a casual hand gesture. He can use a Shikai Hyoketsu to freeze all elements once they come within 4 paces of himself. He can also freeze physical substances that come in contact with his Bankai form, sprouting angelic wings made of ice. Although in the case of Gerard Valkyrie, his body has some strong resistance to freezing. And most impressive of all, whatever has been frozen will cease its inherent function. With this, he can turn off the opponent's inherent abilities such as their hacks. Gerard's most terrifying ability is the Miracle. It gives forms to the desires of the masses. It takes their fear and turns it into its godly size. And conversely, the Hoffnung sword embodies the hope of the masses. Both abilities are the Miracle. Even the likes of a Shikai Kenpachi could not resist the power of Hoffnung's hope. On the other hand, Toshiro could freeze and suspend the power of hope by freezing the blade which embodied it. He literally nullified an abstract concept, the hopes of the people bundled together, a direct manifestation of the miraculous power, one of the greatest hacks in the entire verse. I should also mention that he still possesses all the abilities he had in his child form. The power to command the weather itself, command over all water, ice projectiles of all shapes and sizes, Hyoten Hyakaso, which uses snowfall to trap his opponent. He can even construct ice clones which can bleed, produce the Senden Hyoro or Millennium Ice Prison, and create massive dragons made of ice and water. He can even freeze explosions, expansive releases of matter and energy, and Kido spells which are made of spiritual matter. Furthermore, in early Bleach, he was a master of Zanjutsu, a master of Flash Step, and a master of Kido, and would have undergone prodigious growth after this. A true embodiment of genius, Adult-Tōshirō is an absolute monster. Follow for more.